So let us continue with Nash Therapeutics study streak for 18th July, and the date in the PPT is erroneously mentioned. But the remedy that we'll discuss today is going to be Colchicum autumnal. If there is one remedy which Dr. Nash believes has the most positive and the reliable characteristic symptoms of the materia medica, it is Colchicum autumnal. Now, there is a reason why he says this and stands strongly with Colchicum. And if you are a homeopath, if you have not read Nash, if you have not read Colchicum, then I guess there is no use for you reading the entire world of materia medicas or the world of repertories, because this is a remedy and this is the book. The leaders in homeopathic therapeutics remedy colchicum is the one which will give you goosebumps when you will read the page to page, line to line of the remedy colchicum autumnal. And I must have visited almost 200 colleges in my last 10 years, and I shared one remedy and one case from this book, Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutics. It's a case of dysentery solved by Dr. Nash using the remedy colchicum. So, there is a reason why this remedy exists in this Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutics. There is a reason why Dr. Nash stands with this remedy with strong conviction. And he gives a very beautiful case in this remedy colchicum. And the case is about bloody stools in a lady who was 75-year old, and how he struggled with getting a medicine. If you are a homeopath starting out your practice or already practicing, this case should be read once in every 6 months to give you the impetus and motivation and inspiration to read and go further in your practice with good conviction and confidence. This is the case which is going to be your, you know, pivot to stand with homeopathy. So, what is the case? So, a 75-year-old lady was suffering from sickness in the stomach, and she had bloody stools, profuse, small quantities of stools every few minutes. Dr. Nash had given aconite, Merxol, Nux vomica, Ipecac, Hemamelis sulfur, failed miserably. It was the 12th day of treating the patient. The patient stayed with Dr. Nash. Dr. Nash stick to the patient, and there was no relief. This case is going to give you goosebumps, because on the 12th day, what Dr. Nash saw was there was 65 stools in the last 24 hours. The patient's aggravation, Dr. Nash observed from the relatives and from his notes, was from night, evening to night, and then in the till the morning it was aggravating. And the patient was in a particular, it was a large house. The patient was in one of the rooms. The kitchen was nearby. The smell of cooking food aggravated the patient. This is all he collected over a period of 12 days after failing with 10 to 12 remedies. How much patience do you have to wait on one remedy for 2 3 days? Dr. Nash had just one book with him in his carriage. There was a horse carriage he used to ride. Lippe's keynotes was the only book, and he told that he is not so much well versed with materia medica, But still, he knew that these three symptoms existed and I need to treat the patient with these three symptoms. 65 stools in 24 hours, great tenesmus, and Dr. Nash is besides the bedside of the patient, brought the book Lippes Materia Medica, started reading from A, B, C. Imagine where is the remedy, he doesn't know. But he, you know, gathered his courage and wrote something beautiful that I would fight it out on this line, even if it took me all summer to find the remedy of the patient. Do you have the patience to wait that much? Do you have the courage to stay with just one book that you have, Lippes Keynotes Dr. Nash had? This was in 1890s or 60s, 70s. We don't know. Maybe early 1800, 70s, 80s. And luckily for Dr. Nash, he found the remedy in the alphabet C. Now imagine if the remedy would have been in S, in Z. I know that when we were in college, we were told to start reading Materia Medica, and by the time we used to reach the alphabet C, we would be half dead. If the remedy of this patient would have been somewhere in M, S, or Z, what would he have done, Dr. Nash? He still sat there and thought that I will fight for this patient, with this patient, this problem that he she is having. We are getting access to so many methods these days that we are easily giving up on our classical materia medicas on a simple book which is Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutics by Dr. Nash. And this is the case which I share in all the colleges that I go. No one ever raises a hand and tells me that he has read this case, she has read this case. This is the apathy that we have as a homeopath, as a homeopathic student. With Colchicum, Dr. Nash, 200 potency was the highest for him at that time. He gave to this patient and he saw a miracle the next day. He went home assuming that the patient would be dead by tomorrow morning because all his remedies have stopped working. But he went home, he came back the next day, and he saw that the patient was hale and hearty. The patient wished Dr. Nash good morning. He learned three beautiful lessons from Colchicum, Dr. Nash, and he has shared it with us in his book Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutic under the remedy Colchicum. That we should not be influenced by prejudice, that subjective symptoms are the most valuable, and that the 200s do act and cure. That was a time when 30 and 200 were discarded because there was no medicinal substance, there was nothing which was believed about homeopathy. And nowadays, we don't believe that these old materia medicas have the power to give us the courage, but we are sticking to newer methods and newer repertories without understanding what gemstones we have in our old books. With Colchicum, the patient improved, and then Dr. Nash gives us few important indications for Colchicum. There are two opposite symptoms. One is violent burning, and then there is icy coldness in the stomach. And there are mucus shreddings from the intestines, like Merck sol, Merck core. Patient will tell you that there is lot of frothiness and as if the tissue has been broken down uh, in the stools. That he will tell you all the time. It is a simple presentation. We need not complicate using any repertory, any materia medica. It's a simple explanation the patient will give. Check the stools. If the patient is giving an expression, check it and give the medicine. Dr. Nash gives a comparison of colchicum with cantharis, but in cantharis the urinary symptoms are prominent, and in cantharis there is lot of tenesmus in the urinary component, whereas in colchicum there is tenesmus in the anal region. And last but not the least, Dr. Nash tells us that colosynth is also closed, but the colicky pains and doubling ameliorate the patient. In colchicum, there is meteoric distension. What is meteoric distension? It is something that is inexplainable, excessive distension, more than carbo wedge. That is what the colchicum scope is. These are simple indications, few important symptoms of a remedy, and the patient gets help from the homeopath. Last, Dr. Nash has told that in rheumatism, Dr. Nash has given colchicum with good effect. That's all from me. So I don't know how many of you are still online, but few of you have watched this session. And to keep it short, I hope our new age homeopaths look back at the stalwart books, the stalwart methods, which were simple, classical, and very much easy for every homeopath to practice. Let's not complicate it with any XYZ method, any XYZ, latest arrival. Let us also keep in touch with the old, which is always the gold. Go through Colchicum whenever you feel down, whenever you feel discouraged. This remedy from this book, Dr. Nash's Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutics, has helped me give the inspiration every year to take myself forward. When Dr. Nash thought everything would collapse for the patient, she would die, something would happen, and the intensity, the gravity of the case, which is 65 stools in 24 hours. Imagine nowadays with 5 stools, patients are landing in hospital. Dr. Nash stuck with the patient. The patient had the faith. That is what we need to develop as homeopath. Let us bring back the classical homeopathy and revive it in the best possible ways.